Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Duke, and this is another segment of I'm Right. And today I'm right about the category jobs Americans won't do. For years and years and years, the progressives have been telling us we have to throw our borders open because there are all sorts of jobs that able-bodied Americans will just not do. Among them, evidently, we now have comedy. Apparently, we have a shortage of American liberals who despise this country and spend all their time mocking its history, its origins, its culture, its mores. If you've paid any attention to late-night TV of late, you will have noticed a tremendous influx of non-American comedians, all on the left, all whose sole stock in trade is mockery of the country that they're making all this money off of. I'm talking about people like Samantha from Canada, Jim Jefferies from Australia, Trevor Noah from South Africa, and of course John Oliver from England. And what's ironic about these comedians is that they all come from countries that you would not tolerate an American going over there taking a primetime slot on cable TV to spend hours at a time mocking those host countries. It just wouldn't happen. So these comedians, we use the term comedian lightly, back in the day, comedy used to be about offending everybody, about making everybody laugh, about pulling out what's universal in human foibles to give everybody a good chuckle. Now comedy, at least as it's being practiced by this immigrating horde of liberals, is to simply mock those who disagree with you. It's political comedy. It's not universal comedy. It's the kind of thing that liberals have been telling us for years we have no right to mock. The British Monty Python mocking those Germans so brutally back in the 70s, that's considered a little passé now, culturally inappropriate, right? To have men and women tell jokes about each other, at least have men tell jokes about women, to have people of different ethnicities telling jokes about other ethnicities. This is all supposed to be off the table unless it comes to politics. If your politics are right of center, you can be mocked. But the problem is that it's not universal comedy in the sense that the only people laughing are liberals. It's not really that funny, but it is a kind of tribalism that you see taking over here. You think about people like John Oliver, people like Samantha Jim Jefferies now from Australia, Trevor Noah from South Africa, and there's more of them as well. They're one-note Johnnies who are over here getting very rich, getting lots of media adulation. If you ever type in any of those shows, if you don't watch them, or look at the articles that are being written about them, it's always Trevor Noah eviscerates conservatives. Samantha devastates right-wingers. It's an adjunct now of the Progressive Party to have these kinds of, I guess for lack of a better word, comedians come over here and tell us what to do. It's also part, ultimately, I think, of this globalist agenda. It's one thing to have Americans fighting amongst themselves, conservative Republicans, Democrats, liberals, but now you can have people from all over the Western world and the non-Western world even who are lecturing us comedically about how the rest of the world sees us. This is a really interesting development out of Hollywood. Let's put on a bunch of people to harangue 50-60% of the country from other countries so that it'll make us feel as if, well, gee, the whole rest of the world is laughing at us. And it's not the rest of the world. These comedians, whether it's Jefferies or the particularly vile Samantha these aren't other cultures. These are progressives. They're international members of the International Union of Progressives. They all believe the same things. They all think the same way. They're all telling the same jokes at the expense of the same people. It is part of really a propaganda campaign from the Hollywood left to get Americans to think that we are so isolated, we are so alone. My response to that is, in many ways, Americans are alone in the world, in sometimes in negative ways, but much more often in positive ways. So you keep importing comedy. You go ahead and keep importing these talking heads from fashionable places across the globe to try to make us feel as if somehow we're inferior. But the irony is that they couldn't do what they do in their own countries, and they certainly couldn't be paid as well as they're being paid here. In other words, what makes us unique and isolated, the very things that these comics are mocking, are the very things that allow them to butter their bread. So I think in the long run, Americans are too smart to fall for this kind of silliness, and it's an echo chamber. Nobody outside the progressive liberal elites paying any attention to these people. So mock on, kids. Just stop pretending it's comedy. If you enjoyed this video and all of our videos, please consider a tax-deductible donation so we can keep the whole thing free for you. I'm Dr. Duke. Thanks for watching.